Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Welcome to Red Storm Chasers. I'm Vincent here with Tim and Craig. It's been a while since you heard from us. We were a little under the weather. Craig had the flu. I had a sinus infection. So we missed last week, but we're happy to be back. Craig, Tim, good to be back on the pod with you, talking St. John's basketball. I know I missed you guys while we were separated with our illnesses.
I'll try to avoid coughing into the mic as best I can.
We'd appreciate that. If you could keep the coughing certainly to a minimum.
Yeah, it was rough. The flu was rough, man. Not fun.
Yeah, I imagine. Tim, good to see you. My son had the flu too, so it was not great.
Yeah, I mean, luckily my family avoided the flu, but
and avoided us. So this is a good move.
Yeah.
Well, it's certainly been a shitty week for St. John's basketball. 3 losses, our first losing streak of the season. We lost at Creighton, we lost at Seton Hall, and then we lost at home against Marquette. Not a great, not a great stretch. Not what we were looking for at all. You were hoping we would come away with 2 wins, and then all of a sudden you were hoping we would come away with 1 win at the end. And to be fair, we almost did, right? We were 1-point game against Marquette
and
Creighton. So, and those games we played well, at least, but not really the results you want. So obviously, we know the results. It's been a while. I know we're getting back to things, but I'm sure people have talked about them and looked at them, and we've certainly talked about them, between ourselves. But just looking back, the Creighton loss, 1-point loss, as you said, Craig, 66-65, and it was a tough one. It was the first time we were in the game in Omaha, and you felt like we were going to come away with a win.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely the tough part about it is, look, we've always struggled there. We're 1 and now 12 all time in Omaha, but it felt like a game we could win. There was a lot that could have went the other way, and if it got the other way, it would have been great. There was a great way to come away with a top 25 win on the road. That's a play that win, a win that plays deep into March in terms of a resume. And we got some not good calls. I know that the team was pretty gracious in not saying anything about the referees, but we don't have to be gracious because we got screwed, just plain old-fashioned screwed.
I mean,
at the end,
fouls with 10 seconds to go is always a killer.
You can tell when just the general population of reporters and commentators were like, yeah, that probably should have been a foul. Because if they are saying it, then it should have been a foul. Because they will usually defend the referees to the T.
But we usually just get lucky enough to have one big blown miss of a call that just really hurts us. To get them back to back like that it's pretty painful. Like, we know there's certain arenas that we are cursed at. We are cursed at the Rock. We are cursed at Omaha.
We showed that last week too.
Yeah.
But hey, this year we won at Nova. We broke the curse of Nova.
Yeah.
So that means we're on point to beat Butler at Butler. So
hopefully.
Hey, I'm saying it's going to happen. 2 out of 4 of the curses will be broken this year.
Okay.
Oh, let's hope so. Because we're certainly going to need that win. Anyway, we got a long time before we get to Butler. So I do think, it was tough watching those 2 calls go against us because we're in the game, and we're in a place we're gonna win. We're not gonna win, but we're in a place where we certainly can win. And then, like you said, 2 rough calls don't go our way, and there's nothing you can do that. You can't fight that, and
no.
It really just destroys your chance.
Yeah, I mean, Jenkins gets that rebound, we win. There's no doubt about it. I mean, and he got fouled. He just did. I mean, he had the rebound, and Kalkbrenner dove at his leg, took out his leg, and made him drop the ball.
Correct.
And
he 100% pulled.
He had the ball in his hand. I mean, it's a foul. It's not a question.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of I can't remember which linebacker it was. I think he was a San Fran linebacker. He caught an interception, and his knee got destroyed. And because his knee got destroyed, he reacted and dropped the ball, and they said it wasn't an interception. Do you guys remember that?
I don't.
Not really. Vaguely, but not really. But no,
you talk about Zach Miller blowing out his knee, and he doesn't hold the ball long enough.
Well, yeah, I mean, okay, that one I remember. But it's hard to watch that and be like, how is this fair? Right? I mean, he literally pulls his leg back. He prevents him from getting the ball. And it's just like,
I mean, it's a foul like 100% of the time. It's just it's not
everywhere else. It's a foul. Everywhere else, it's a foul. It's just not for us.
And then to go down the other end, and then on the last second putback, the kid slides underneath Dingle, doesn't let him land. That's another foul. That
Correct.
one at least,
Absolutely.
that one at least is a little more bang bang because at the end of games, I can see where sometimes that one doesn't get
Sometimes
called.
refs let it go. 100%.
It should be called. It should be called because he did not land, and that is absolutely a foul. It's just
Yeah, it's
not
also a player
touching.
safety issue, by the way. That's a point of
100%.
emphasis because it's player safety.
Yeah.
Sliding underneath people like that is a dangerous play. People can really get hurt.
Correct.
And not calling that is. But
They
again,
should
as
have
I've
called
said
that
on
one,
this
but they should have called the
podcast
first
many
one.
times, and I've said it a million times in real life, the refs are accountable to nobody, right?
Yeah,
They
I agree.
they make these mistakes, and what happens? Nothing. They don't have to have a press conference. They don't get in. There's no going to be reprimand. Nothing. There's not even a statement from the Big East. No admitting of fault. It's and I know it sounds like, oh, you guys are complaining about the refs. I'm not only complaining about the refs in this situation. My complaint is a broader complaint. All I'm asking for is some from accountability. Make the referees get. It's not like they get questioned by the fans. Go out there, require the refs to have a press conference after the game. Let the media ask them questions. I think that's personally fair. I think the media are fair people, right? They're not crazy fans. Most of them are, unbiased. So you're going to sit there and they're going to get asked real questions. Hey, what happened on this play? Did Kalkbrenner not grab his leg, or what did you see on that play? Sure. That's the questions they're going to get. They're not going to get berated by fans or by me. You know what I mean? But not even having that, it's just no accountability, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating to have them be able to impact the game so much and just never be able to answer for it, or not have to answer for it, I should say.
Well, like you said before, we put 18-year-olds on the stand, have them answer a bunch of questions on the hardest day on their shot, how they missed their most important shot of their entire life. But the 50-year-old referee who gets paid to do this gets to run to the back and never gets seen again. It doesn't have any accountability. He doesn't have to answer any questions on what they saw. It's absurd.
Kids, NCAA tournament kids crying through tears, answering questions about how in the bang bang play when they were trying to grab a rebound, they mistakenly pushed a kid, right, or they nudged a kid. Hey, what and reporters asked them, right? Hey, how did you why was your thought process to do this? Well, my thought process was to get the ball because I'm an 18-year-old kid playing basketball, right? But listen, that's fair, and I'm not complaining about them getting questioned. They should. Right, because that, with all due respect, this is entertainment, and at this point, the players are basically getting paid, and that's okay. We can have that. It's just we also have to have the referees answer for theirs, right? That's all I'm asking for, because that's the only way we actually get answers as to what happened there. Because listen, maybe I don't know the game well enough. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Kalkbrenner didn't commit a foul when he pulled Jenkins' leg. Of course he did. Of course he did. But right, or maybe he didn't slide under Dingle enough. But we don't know that because the refs don't give any answers. That's enough rant. It's enough ranting on the refs. Yeah. But anyway, that resulted in our Creighton loss. It was a tough one. The Seton Hall game, I don't even want to talk about. It
just pounds in the fact that's why I do not go to the Rock.
It's literally
of horrors for us, and I hate it, and it's awful.
It started off, and I was like, wow, I really have a flashbacks to last year. Jokingly, I texted, I think I texted you guys, having flashbacks to last year where we went down big, quick. Then we got back into it. Okay, we're tied. Okay, great. It's all right. We should be winning, but okay. Then they went on a 28-0 run, and I remembered exactly why I hate this game and why Rick Pitino, the game before, had said he wants to kill himself when he loses, because I do too. And that's how I felt in the middle of that Seton Hall game, that I had it, that it was finally time, because I couldn't even watch anymore. It was just painful to watch that game.
Rick Pitino's quote, by the way, we forgot to mention it about Creighton, but it was hilarious after the game when they asked him about moral victories, and he said, "There are no moral victories. Every time I lose, I want to fucking kill myself."
Yeah,
incredible.
He's like, I just want to die, freeze to death.
I want to jump outside and freeze to death. Yeah.
By the way, that's exactly the response I want from my coach. That's exactly that's exactly how I feel. So I want him to feel exactly how I feel, and that's spot on how I feel.
And that's how you felt watching Mass coaches at Seton Hall.
Yeah,
absurd.
I mean, no, yeah.
Well, I think that's enough talking about Seton Hall. It's over. It's in the past. We'll move on and hope to God it never happens again. Unfortunately, we will face them later this year. Hopefully, the results are much, much different.
Yes, no, won't be in
all
the
right.
Rock. So that's always good.
Avoiding the Rock certainly a plus because
We don't have to go
God
back.
knows if that building could just if there was a sinkhole on a Tuesday night when no one was there that dissolved that building, I think St. John's fans would all be happy because if we never have to step foot in there again, that would be great. Anyway, our most recent game, also a heartbreaker in pure St. John's fashion to continue our losing streak, our 3-game losing streak, at home against Marquette, 73-72, another 1-point loss. And this one was, I don't want to say more heartbreaking than the Creighton game, but, there were particular moments at the very end where it felt like, okay, this is it, right? Jenkins almost hits the shot at the end, almost hits the buzzer beater, which the last buzzer beater I remember is like D'Angelo Harrison hitting a buzzer beater. Like I'm pretty sure we haven't had a buzzer beater win in like 15 years. But you see it, and Jenkins, he got a good look. It was a good play. Had he made the free throw previously, probably not in that spot, but that one almost hurt more because I felt, the other ones the refs kind of jobbed us at the end. This one, we did it to ourselves. We could have won this game, and we could have done it without any interference.
I think part of why
and that's why it
a
hurt
little bit more is because there were a lot of opportunities. A lot of things went right down the stretch that seemed like we should win. Tyler Kolek,
right,
94% three.
He misses.
He misses 3 free throws. 3. Yeah. Like, that doesn't happen in a world. They missed a bunch of front ends. Like, we had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to win that game, and we ultimately came up short. And that's why it hurt a lot. And it was home. It always hurts when you lose at home. And I think, it was an opportunity lost because Marquette's a good, highly ranked team. They're a good team. We had them at home, and we really had them. We at one point went up by 10 in the second half. We can't let that game fritter away. We can't let them get up 10, and then we can't dig ourselves that big of a hole and then have to come back, which we did. The run at the end, let's be clear, the run at the end was spectacular.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And hopefully we can use that as a jumping point to go beyond this game. The run, and Tim can tell you best, it was electric, wasn't it?
Oh, it was probably one of the loudest overall games I've been to at the Garden. And while we've had moments where it was loud at the Garden, but that game was consistently loud. It was actually the first game I've ever taken my daughter to, and my daughter was frightened by the loud sounds for most of the game. So great job by the fans.
It came through well on TV, and it was a big sea of red, which was nice to see. Yeah. I know a lot of times we're battling for percentage of Madison Square Garden, but that certainly wasn't true here, and it was great to see such a live crowd. We're going to need that more often, by the way, guys. Just continue to buy tickets and come out to games because if we could get that all the time, I think we would really help ourselves in games like Villanova and UConn, where teams are much closer, right? Marquette doesn't have as big of a following in New York, but obviously if we could do that against teams like Villanova and UConn, I think we would better serve ourselves and our players. So that was my pitch to come out. Make sure you continue to come out. Probably don't bring your young children, Tim, to those games if they continue to be that loud. But I do think that is a good sign, right? The loudness, the playing well at the having that run at the end. I do think there are things to build on from this game. I just wish the result was different, right? I wish.
Yeah, I mean, I wish.
If we had gotten one out of these 3 games at least. Yeah, you would have been frustrated but understood, right? Okay, that's fine.
We talked about the last spot. I said if we could win one of the 2, Seton Hall and Creighton, winning both of those would have been hard, right? Those are places we don't do well on the road. You win one of those 2, you win the Creighton one, you're like, okay, we lose Seton Hall, that sucks. We kind of no-showed that game, COVID, there's a lot of reasons for it. Okay, fine, whatever. The Marquette game's tough at home because you're at home, right? And you want to get that one, but wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be. We played well. We played really well against. RJ Lewis. I think
RJ 20 points
and was electric. again, I keep using that word, but he was. I mean,
absolutely. He played a great game. The best game he's probably had all year. And listen, there's a lot of guys who played well. I mean, Jenkins has consistently played well. He's kind of a guy becoming much like Soriano, where you go like, yeah, oh, he's got 16. Yeah, normally that's no big deal. Soriano didn't have a particularly good game. He had 11 points. A little
better
low for
second,
him.
better
Second
half, I'd say.
half, but
Better second.
11 and 9 didn't get a double. And I'm a little worried about Joel Soriano, to be completely honest. I not that I maybe take the Seton Hall game out of it, right? If you want, because we all played terribly.
We did.
But it's kind of hard to take it out. But he played well against Creighton.
He played well against Creighton, but he wasn't dominant.
He wasn't dominant, and then he had a terrible appearance in Seton Hall. And then he had this game, and this game he was good, but he wasn't dominant, right? It's a little worrisome because he's the guy, right? I mean, he's our guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we got guys like RJ Lewis who can score 20 points. And like I said, Jenkins is becoming he's a consistent 15-point guy, but you do have to count on Soriano to be there because there's a lot of big play in the Big East. And if he's going to have nights where he's off, we're going to struggle to make up for that because, listen, Zuby's great, but he's not Joel Soriano, right?
Zuby has played very well over the last 3 games.
He has. Thank God he has, because he's picked up what I think has been Joel Soriano's a bad stretch for Joel Soriano.
Yeah, it has. I think Joel will be fine. He actually went through this, I think, last year as well. He had a couple games where he slumped around this time as well, but then he picked back up as we finished the season. So I think, look, he's Joel Soriano. I think he'll be okay. I think the emergence of Zuby Ejiofor is huge for us because he has looked particularly really good in my opinion. I've been massively impressed with Zuby over the last 3 games.
We also did lose Naheem Aline in this game. I watching it there, I couldn't tell if it was knee, ankle, but Patino came out and said it was a sprain. He's out for a couple of weeks. So
it's his ankle. Just
his ankle.
It's his ankle, yeah. Or at least from the TV, he grabbed his ankle when he went down.
Yeah, from where I was at sitting, I couldn't tell all the way by the cheerleaders what happened exactly. I saw him go down. I saw Drista helping him to the back, and Patino saying he has sprains. So it's not great to lose a good defensive guard that can shoot a three. The one thing I'm wondering, do you think Simeon is going to get more playing time and start to blossom?
We'll see. I mean, I think Glenn Taylor probably in line more for some of his minutes. I think Glenn Taylor will definitely see a lot more usage. But I think Simeon gets some playing time. I mean, he's getting more as we go. So I think it'll certainly give him more opportunity to shine for sure.
I do think Wiltshire make it. He has been getting more minutes, so I think there's certainly that opportunity. One thing I did want to touch on in this game, and listen, I know we kind of live and die by the three, but at the end of the game, we're taking shots that we have absolutely no reason to take. We're down by 2. We're hucking up threes. Ledlam threw one up. Jenkins threw one up. It's just it's frustrating to watch. I know that's Rick Pitino's style. I know that's the play, but there is a time where it's like, all right, you're down by 2, just get a 2, right? You don't have to hook up a 3 just because you're Ledlam in the corner, right? You don't have to just. It's kind of tough to watch when that happens because when you miss them, they hurt even more.
Yeah, I think the critical possession was that with 30 seconds to go when we didn't get a score.
I mean, I'll say this. With Ledlam in the corner, if he's open, I'm perfectly okay with him shooting that 3. I think he should make it. Well, that's the thing. Yeah. I think he should make it. He didn't. That's the thing that sucks about this. But I think for him to take that shot, it's not inappropriate. It's not misguided. I think it's someone in the corner that we would approve of mid-game to shoot that 3. I think I would be perfectly okay with him shooting that again at the end.
I disagree, Tim. I think I understand where you're coming from. In the middle of the game, that's fine. 15 minutes to go, no problem. When we're down by 1 point, and you're Chris Ledlam, who can get to the basket at will, essentially, you should drive to the basket and make the referees make the foul call because
Correct.
they will call a foul, and you only need one.
Yeah,
So you drive that ball to the basket and you force the contact, which he does extraordinarily well. He's a good shooter, but he's a better driver. Go drive to the basket, go get fouled, go make a layup. That's in my opinion. Look, easier.
That was my point.
I
said 2 points. I meant one, but I'm 100% correct. It's a situational awareness, right? You know you're going to get fouled. There's no doubt if he drives to the basket, Marquette's going to foul him, right? And listen, maybe he doesn't make the free throws, but you got to get the contact there. You got to put the refs in the place to call the foul because, as nice as it would have been to go up by 2 points, making sure you go up by any amount of points is more important. Because as we saw, we lost the game because of it, right? We literally could have had a lead, and instead, both times we shot 3-pointers up by 1 point and missed, and we didn't come away with any points, and we lost the game because of it.
The second one, obviously, you don't have much of a choice, but
no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about before that.
Oh.
I'm not talking about obviously the final shot. We had 4 seconds. I'm not an idiot to think that we should, not shoot a 3-pointer there. We should shoot any basket we can get in the air there. Before that, not the possession directly before that, but one before that, one before the Ledlum one.
Quick rant on the referees too. R.J. Lewis stole that ball clean. To call a foul there is absurd.
Oh, that's a jump. Boop, boop. Got to be a jump. 100% a jump.
At worst, a jump. In reality, if they hadn't blown the whistle, R.J. Lewis probably comes away with it by himself.
Yeah, no, he would have. But
at the minimum, you have to call it a jump.
In all honesty, the replay and the announcers on the call said it too. It was a jump ball. It was 100% a jump ball. If you drew a picture of what a jump ball looked like, that's exactly what happened. So it was a tough one to not have that one called our way because we get the ball there, and obviously it's a different game. But it wasn't, and we didn't come away with the victory. We came away with our third loss in a row, which was not the stretch we were looking for there. All right, we got to do a Spotlight Player of the Week, even though it was a terrible, terrible week. And no offense, but Joel Soriano not going to win this week for sure. Craig, why don't you lead us in our picking of the Spotlight Player of the Week?
I'm going to pick Zuby. I think Zuby had the most energy. He's the only one in the Seton Hall game who really showed out very well, I think. He gave us some big minutes against Marquette. So I think I'm going to go Zuby.
All right, one vote for Ejiofor. I think it may be his first Spotlight Player of the Week vote ever. Tim, who do you got for us?
I'm actually going Zuby as well. Plus minus for him. Very good in the past couple games. He stepped up big. I mean, we got blown out in Seton Hall, but he stepped up big, having to jump in for Soriano for most of that game. Played very well against Marquette. Had, I think, possibly the best plus minus. I got to look back and check in, but one of the top 3 in plus minus. And even against Creighton, another solid game for him. 6 points, 4 rebounds. For our backup center, he fills what I recognize as a spotlight for this week.
All right, interesting approach. Who knew Zuby Ejiofor going to be the Spotlight Player of the Week after never having received a vote before? I am going to disagree. I'm going to give it to the only guy to score double digits in all 3 games, and that's Danis Jenkins, because he's Danis Jenkins and he deserves it. He's come on in a way that I think he's as advertised is what I would say, right? He was expected to be that kind of number 2 to Joel Soriano, and he's been up to the billing. And he does it kind of quietly because of, Joel playing like Joel and everyone focusing on him. But he is just out there consistent, grinding. And I think he, in big moments, is a guy that we, listen, he missed, he missed a free throw, right? It's a big moment. I think he's a guy in bigger moments we'll be able to count on going forward because I think he's a guy who takes it to the heart and is going to step up and say, all right, listen, I missed that free throw. I'm going to learn from that and I'm going to move forward. So he would have been my guy, but I lost. Zuby Ejiofor, the Spotlight Player of the Week this week. And he's been great for sure. And it's exciting to see him step out, particularly during this tough stretch for Joel Soriano. All right. That concludes the sad portion of the podcast. We are now heading into what will hopefully be a happier portion of the podcast as we look ahead. Time to look ahead. The past is the past, and that's all it'll ever be. So 3-game losing streak, hoping that comes to an end. We got a fun matchup, in my opinion, on Wednesday at 8:30 at Madison Square Garden. It'll be facing off against the Villanova Wildcats on Fox Sports 1 for those of you watching at home. Listen, I know in the past it's been hard to beat Villanova twice, but I do think this year it's going to happen for us. We beat them in Villanova. We beat them by 10, and we did a good job of leading from wire to wire. And I don't see why that would change here. So I think we're coming away from with a win, and we're going to break this 3-game losing streak. Craig, what do you think? How are we going to do on Wednesday night?
I'm going to be optimistic and say we're going to win. I think we cruised against them at Villanova. The only difference can be Justin Moore will be back for this game, which is an X factor for them. So it will be a little bit of a different game. But I still think we come out on top. That's my.
All right, Tim. You think we're going to sweep Villanova for the first time in I don't even know how long, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I do think it's going to be a bit more of a defensive game than we are expecting. I think both teams will struggle to get into the 70s. They did just lose to UConn by 1 point. Justin Moore, great game. He was 7 for 9, 15 points, 5 rebounds. I think having Moore and Dixon both healthy at the same time against us, I think it's going to make our team's going to have to step up offensively and be consistent. We can't risk having any 10-0 runs against this team being fully healthy again.
The runs have really killed us of late. I mean, we have allowed some serious runs that have been extraordinarily problematic. I mean, you talk about there's a
28-2.
Well, 14-2 run against Marquette. That was killer. There were the 28-0 run was actually 2 separate 14-0 runs at the end of the first half and the beginning of the second half.
Right.
Which is almost even worse somehow. So runs have killed us. We need to Tim's point, we need to minimize those against Villanova.
Villanova's a good team, and they're a team we're going to be fighting with for a position in the Big East. Once we break this losing streak, so I'm optimistic, and I think just from our last performance, I know obviously Moore is back and he's great, right? He averages 12 point a game. He is, like Craig said, an X factor for them, but I feel like we're coming into this game upset, right? We've had a tough stretch. This is the toughest stretch we've had this season. Rick is going to be on. He's going to be on, right? And he's going to be in a place where, this is it for us. We need to win this game because this is the time where we need to lock in, and we can't have a 4-game losing streak. Particularly, I think, because there's a week between games. It's our bye week. So we play Villanova on Wednesday, and we don't play again until we play Xavier the following Wednesday. So I think he's going to come out and say, "Listen, we can't go into this bye week with 4 losses in a row. We just can't do it. So we have to win this game." And I think they come out and they take care of business. So this, I'll set this up, a little bit for you guys. What do you think is the key factor to us winning this game that's different from the previous matchup with Villanova? So, obviously last time against Villanova, it was a great win, wire to wire, didn't even have to sweat it. What do you think we have to do differently this time with them having more back to have the same level of success?
So mine really doesn't have anything to do about more coming back. It has to do more about the fact that
Tim, good pun.
Yep. When local kids get to play at the Garden, they always go off. It's TJ Bamba's first game at the Garden against us. Now that he's at Nova, after being at Washington State, local kid, we had to stop him from scoring a bunch of points against us because That's what always happens.
That's interesting. I mean, that is a very good point. That always happens. We always talk about one guy, a random guy going off. And you are right. It tends to be the more local kids. So I can see that happening. I
mean,
think
TJ Bamba did go off against us in Philadelphia, though.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
So we were okay last time. As long as he and Justin Moore don't go off, then we'd be okay.
Well, I think Tim's right, though. What we need to do differently this time is we need to shut down Bamba. So he followed the question correctly, Craig. Right. Unlike you, who probably has two answers that are one of them being unrelated to whatever it was.
3 or 4.
Yeah, I'm sure. But no, I think that's a very good point, Tim. I think because having more back, you do risk a double blow up, if you will, which could be hard to overcome. Craig, what do you think here? Give me your top one, because I'm sure the 3, 4, and 5 are probably related to something else.
So I would actually say it's not something we have to do different. It's that we have to continue to do the things we did against Villanova the first time, which against essentially a different team. So we have to continue to shoot well. We have to defend the 3. Villanova didn't hit a lot of threes when we played them last time. We need to continue that. So that's what I think we need to limit turnovers, all of those good things. Play the game we played last time.
Oh, all right. Craig, I really went into that answer expecting you to have something more than actually. I think we need to do exactly what we did last time, considering we won by 10 points. That's a valid point. I mean, yeah, me too. I think we need to do what we did last time as well. But
if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Maybe next time review the questions and then come up with a little more in-depth answers. I'd appreciate that. Anyway, it'll be an exciting one. 8:30 at Madison Square Garden on Wednesday. Make sure we come out. I'd like to see a big sea of red again. Nice loud sea of red. Tim, bring Maddie back. Hopefully she covers her ears. Bring some earmuffs this time. But I hope
she is 0-1.
Never mind. Leave her at home. Like I said, that's the only game this week, so it's going to be a big one for us. Well, as we head into the only game this week, why don't we take a look at where we're at in the college basketball world? Obviously, with the 3-game losing streak going on, I know there's a lot of people out there who are in freak out mode. They've hit the panic button. This is it. This is the St. John's of old. We see ourselves heading down the same track. And I don't think that's true. So we currently sit, as I mentioned before, 7th in the Big East, 4-4 with a 12-7 overall record. Listen, 7th is not where you want to be in the Big East. But just to give you some context here, we're 4-4. There are 3 teams directly ahead of us, Marquette, Villanova, and Xavier, who are 4-3. So it's not like we're far away from being in 4th place. UConn at the top, 7-1, Seton Hall 6-2, and then Creighton is 5-3. Below us is Providence at 3-4, Butler at 3-5, Georgetown at 1-6, and the lowly DePaul Blue Devils. Nope. The lowly DePaul Blue Demons at 0-7. So, is it where we want to be? No. Do we have the ability to directly impact it? Yes. We win this game against Villanova, they're going to drop to 4-4. We'll be 5-4. We'll move ahead of them. And then next week we play Xavier, who currently ahead of us by being 4-3. They play 2 games this week, obviously. So listen, we can directly change where we're at in the Big East and turn things around very quickly over the course of the next 2 weeks. So I think it's a little bit of an overreaction, is what I'm trying to say, guys.
Well, I think if you take a look at it, right, there's 10 games left to go. There's more than half of the schedule to go. So there's still a lot of this story to be written. And if you think about the games we have left and think about teams that have made the tournament, right? 4 of those 10 games are DePaul and Georgetown. That should be 4 wins. There's no reason those shouldn't be 4 wins. So that already puts you at 8-4. Right? Just take those 4 wins, you're at 8-4 in conference. The other games you gotta worry about are there's Butler on the road and Xavier on the road. Those are games you could win. There was very winnable games. That's 6. The other 4 games are UConn at home, Nova at home, Seton Hall at home, and Creighton at home, and Marquette on the road. Sorry.
Right.
So
those games are going to determine.
You really need to win like 3 of those games. You win 3 of those games, you're talking about 12 wins in the Big East. you're a tournament team by every objective standard. If you win those games, so we're fine. We're fine as long as we haven't dropped a game that we haven't been allowed to drop yet, in my opinion.
Correct. And in all honesty, you look at our net. We're 41 in net.
Oh yeah,
We're doing great. And Craig, I know we were talking before the bracket matrix, which is the website you like to use. Where do they have us in the tournament?
They have us as the highest 8th seed, so we are one step away from being a 7th seed, and the team above us is Villanova. So if we win, obviously it would make sense that over the course of all the bracketologists, we would move into a 7 seed. That's good. That's a good to be. They're a good spot to be. Look, there's work to be done. There's games that have to be won. Nova is extraordinarily important on Wednesday. But there's still opportunities for this team, and I think let's not panic. I know we're a tortured fan base. There's time to go. Let's trust in the process. Let's trust in Rick Pitino, and let's see where this season takes us. That's my rant.
Yeah, I'm 100% in agreement with you, Craig. I think it's, listen, the easy react is to be pissed and to be concerned, and I get it. You have every right to be pissed and concerned, but I don't think it's really a panic mode moment. I think, it's tough stretch in the schedule, and the balls didn't go our way. So get back on the horse and put things in the right direction. That'll do it. For Craig and Tim, I'm Vincent. Go Johnnies. Keep chasing.